All right. Good morning, everybody. Of course, it's Work with Ben Powell, Coach Ben here. I have a great guest today. Her name is BJ Stevens, and she's the unconventional dinosaur with 60 years of business experience, 800 coaching clients, and has walked with the best of the best Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Les Brown, and others. She's an award winning Scottish official lady with a crown to prove it. BJ, take it away and let us know a little bit more about yourself today.
Oh, thanks, Ben. Ben and I, in a previous conversation, realized we had known each other for 10 years. Where in the world did that time go? Um, Thank you, Ben, for inviting me to be on here. My background, oh my gosh, started at 14 selling Christmas cards in a 6 or 8 week window, door to door in my little bitty town in Missouri. And in that 6 weeks, I made a profit commission of $680, which I have no idea what that converts over to today, but I can tell you it's probably close to $5,000 or whatever it may be. And I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked. My parents were jaw dropped. The old American slang, they almost lost their dentures when they found out that I had made that much money. Um, and and it just progressed from there. I did that for the next 3 years until I graduated college or school, high school, and then entered into college. And my major was law. I was going to study to be a lawyer, but I had to help pay for college as well. So I continued in the network marketing arena because that is something you can do part time. And it was just, it was so amazing to me to meet people. And it wasn't always, for me, it never was about the money, and it never was about gaining that recognition, becoming the best of the best in the company. It was about hearing the stories of the people and learning what their needs were, learning what their pain point was. And a realization came real quick that my product wasn't always something they wanted to use. When I left the greeting card company, I went on to, honestly, probably 16 or 18 different companies in network marketing, which I think anybody who has spent any time in network marketing will know and understand that it is a matter of going from company to company, but you don't want to make that a habit. But at the same time, it broadens your knowledge, it broadens the awareness, and if you do it right, you are learning some of the skills that nobody is teaching, even back then until today. Nobody's teaching it. These are what I call the 101 basics, the 101 principle of business. And it's funny because the more you fail, the more stronger you get. You should be learning from each and every failure. And I took that to heart, seriously. Uh, it As I progressed from company to company, I am proud to say that in 4 of those companies, which unfortunately are no longer around, they're completely defunct. I was $1 million earner in 4 of those companies. But success is hard work. And if there's ever a message, a takeaway from today's broadcast, I want that known out there. Do not go into any kind of network marketing space thinking that in 5 months or 6 months or even a month, you're going to start making big money, because you won't. And that is a fallacy that is being taught out there that anybody who teaches that should be paddled. I'm serious. Should be absolutely swatted on the butt. That is a horrible way to teach people how to do it. Success takes time.
Right.
And they're and even those who feel like they have been successful after 5 years or 10 years in the business, let me tell you something, you haven't earned your stripes yet after that amount of time, because there's still more to learn. And if you want to leave that legacy, as they always say, or if you want to be the best, understand something. That may be a goal, and there's nothing wrong in trying to improve yourself on a daily basis, but you will never achieve that status that you're wanting, because there's always somebody out there who's got more experience, more knowledge, and more understanding of how the business works than you ever will. So it's a lot of it's common sense. And in today's world, it really aggravates me, if I may, because I see all these people trying to follow, the ones on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube with millions of followers, and they think, oh my God, they just posted that up, and look, they're an instant overnight success. Let me tell you something. There is only 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10% who are overnight successes. You have no idea what that person has gone through, what they've had to do, the sacrifices they have made, the money they have invested to get to where you see them as a success. And you have to understand that right up front. They may have had a little bit of luck. You may not be a lucky person. You may have to work. And that's the other thing. In this kind of business, work is not a 4-letter word. Work is what makes you successful. Right? So
That's right. You've touched on some really awesome points, BJ. One of the ones I really liked was talking about failure, and how, so many people look at failure as failure and a reason to quit. I don't look at it that way. I know you don't look at it. And a lot of my friends and family that online here don't feel the same way. I see people coming and going all the time. People who I thought were leaders in the industry, and were doing a great job, have disappeared. They were doing a good job, like we were talking about before we went on the air, about planting seeds. Right. And how people will plant those seeds, they'll let them germinate, let them take root, turn into little plants, continue to tend to them, weed them out, and water them. And even when they start to become mature plants, and they feel that, oh, heck, I've been at this, like you were just saying, whether it be a month, 5 months, a year, 5 years, 6 years, it just is a matter of time that you will attract your own tribe, that there is only one of you and there is nobody else like you out there. And all the people of your same, character, you will attract the people that you can relate to. It's just proper networking. We'll call it that, and, whether or not it's building all those relationships, and how another thing we were talking about is customer acquisition versus customer retention. And, these days, like you were saying, everybody focuses on the customer acquisition and does not focus on keeping those people, whether it's online through training, offline through follow-up and communications. I know it sounds like it's busy and a lot to do, but the people have to realize it is busy. It is a lot to do.
There is so much garbage and misinformation out there. And one of the biggest misunderstanding and misinformation is that your growth comes from acquiring new customers or potential clients. When the fact is, and again, this goes back to basic economic 101. If you focus on those who have followed you, those who pay you for coaching, those who buy your product, service, or goods, they're your sustainability. They're the ones that are going to keep you in a paycheck. And if you don't focus on them, treating them right, and Ben and I were talking about this as well, sending them small little thank yous. And you don't have to do it every month. You can do it twice a year, or or special greeting cards like anniversary, birthday, graduations, whatever the occasion may be. You don't have to spend a fortune on that, but it allows those existing customers to know that you really do appreciate their business. Now, again, there is a misunderstanding about that because these customers may not be monthly paying customers. Don't ever dismiss somebody who only orders 3 times a year. They're equally as important as the person who is
Right.
providing you or buying your product, good, or service every month. Do not dismiss those every now and then customers. They're equally important. There again, there is so much. I seriously could do a whole 2-hour talk on what's wrong in the industry because nobody's focusing on the basic 101 principles. And it just amazes me how quickly we have forgotten that old foundation that this whole profession started up with. We're too busy in today's society and focusing too much on social media. Um, and you and I have had this conversation too. I can tell you again, I network 20 times a day. I'm on 20 some odd calls every day. I can tell you with 1,000,000% certainty, I'm talking to you now who are the brand new people who are chasing that dream, the entrepreneur, the startup. People are tired of your crap. They don't want you to send them message after message after message on Messenger or wherever it may be. They don't want you sending a plethora of emails. That you're being dismissed. You're totally. Why are you putting forth so much effort on a wasted effort? Stop it because nobody's paying attention to you.
So, can I get you to elaborate a little bit more on the 101 principles you were talking about?
Again, that comes from good old Zig Ziglar. And some of the principles he taught are as old as 100 years. And it's for me, one of my biggest messages, you don't give up those basics. You meld them into today and how business is done today. But Zig used to, it's called the psychology of the sale. And that starts with conversation. That starts with getting to know your client. You don't start out by pitching them, and you don't start out by maybe asking a question and then going right into your product either. Know their pain points. Know what keeps them up at night. Understand their family dynamics. Make a friend. Ask them what do they like to do as a family, or what's some of their hobbies, and books they like to read and write. Get to know that client. And once you establish that relationship, and don't ever dismiss the power of that relationship, once you establish that, then in the normal process of conversation, it will come up. You don't have to force it. You don't have to spew it down their throat. Allow it to gradually come across. And that's what happens. So, yeah, that's the basic 101 principles. I used to teach it. I used to be a trainer recruiter for an insurance company years ago. And that I didn't train how to sell insurance. I trained on the 101 of how to sell. And it still is a powerful course right today. People don't get it.
No, they don't. Another thing that people will talk about a little bit about how people can be so ambitious in the beginning, where they'll say they're all in, they're going to give all, be there, show up, and they will do that again for a short period of time, where their ambitions change. And a lot of times they'll, like Jim Rohn talks about, they be like a buoy in the water, and they just bounce around and do nothing rather than focusing on something and setting the sail, right?
Well,
I,
yeah,
go ahead.
but it's a human fallible that we have, because even in today's world, it's getting more worse. It's getting worse. We have such a short attention span. So if we enter a business and we think, oh yeah, I'll give this 5 months, and if I don't make any money, I'm going to move on and do something else. As I said earlier, success takes time. And if you think about it, the brick and mortar business that somebody starts up, I can promise you that that person doesn't make a profit for a good year and a half to 2 years, because what they do is take any profit they have and put it back into more product, more inventory, or upgrading software that will help them, HR tools or advertising or something. They're always reinvesting into that program, which is something, again, in whether you're online marketer or whether you're network marketing or whatever it is that you're doing. There's not a conversation being told about that these days either.
Talking about that, with my offline business that I ran for the last 7 or 8 years in my property maintenance company, the bank book showed that there was money there, but that money was always going somewhere. Like you're saying, equipment, repairs to the equipment,
Taxes,
taxes,
payroll.
there was, so then you're looking at that bottom line. What is actually for you is, I would say, 10%, in a lot of cases for a lot of people. And that's where people have to learn, like we were saying, you have not to give up. You just have faith in yourself and faith in what you're doing.
Well, I think one of the biggest, again, misunderstandings, misnomer about starting a business, whether you are going into an existing business like network marketing, or whether you have a skill like a photographer, an accountant, or an attorney, and you're starting your own business up, beautician, barber, whatever it may be, there's not enough being taught in today's world about all you need to start a business. Do you have a business plan? Do you have an investor? What's your long range, 5-year, 10-year goal? Do you have financial backing? How do you go about getting that? Have you talked to your family and let them know that this is going to take time, and there will be sometimes I'm going to have to break promises? Do you have an understanding of how social media works these days? Do you understand marketing and branding and advertising? There's a whole plethora of things that you need to consider before you even jump into the business. You need an accountant. You need an attorney. You need to understand the difference between sole proprietor, LLC, or whatever it is that you may be going into. Not enough is being taught about that.
That's right. Well, BJ, we're getting close to our time limit of 20 minutes here. I just want to touch a little bit on my follow-up system, like we were talking about. As people can see, I send cards, thank you cards, and kindness cards to people that comment and attend my trainings here on Facebook, and it seems to be paying off. Now, I'd like to turn it over to BJ for the last couple of seconds, and let's hear what she has to say in her closing comments.
I think if there's any one thing out there, we've kind of touched on it. Don't expect success. Success is kind of objective, because too many people see that person on YouTube or on Instagram or TikTok, and they say, oh my God, they got 5 million followers, and that just happened overnight or in the last 24 hours. When the fact and truth is that person may have sacrificed and worked really hard for years before that. Yes, I'm not gonna ignore the fact that there are overnight successes. However, there is no sustainability in that. And if you want a long-lasting, profitable business, you're going to have to put in the work, and success means failure.
That's right.
And you
All right.
have to not be afraid of failing, and you have to learn from failure.
All right, everybody. You heard it from the unconventional dinosaur herself. It's about building friendships. It's about building relationships, which I preach every single week to every single one of you. And I just want to thank you, BJ, for your time today. You took out of your busy schedule to meet with us. And we look forward to having you on the show again sometime, because I know that you've got so much you'd like to share with people.
Oh.
Anyway, everybody, going to end it at that. Have a great day and be blessed and grateful.
Thank you, everyone.